That shouldn't be allowed. This is my son.
Ishan Tharoor of the Washington Post. Definitely asking a question in personal capacity. And mostly to say hi before you go off to your next engagement.
Raise the mic.
Mostly to say hi before you go off to your next engagement. I'm curious, though, on this tour you've been on, various countries in the Western Hemisphere, have any of your government interlocutors asked you to show evidence of Pakistan's culpability in the initial attack? And what do you say to the repeated Pakistani denials of having any hand in the initial attack?
Okay, well, I'm very glad you raised this, Ishan. I didn't plant it, I promise you. This guy does this to his dad. Very simply, no one had any doubt, and we were not asked for evidence. But media have asked, and so you are speaking for your tribe in that in 2 or 3 places, media asked this question. Let me say very clearly that India would not have done this without convincing evidence. But there were 3 particular reasons I want to draw your attention to, all of you. The first is that we've had a 37-year pattern of repeated terror attacks from Pakistan, accompanied by repeated denials. I mean, Americans haven't forgotten that Pakistan didn't know, allegedly, where Osama bin Laden was until he was found in a Pakistani safe house right next to an army camp in a cantonment city. That's Pakistan. Mumbai attacks, they denied having anything to do with it. One of the terrorists was captured alive. His name, his identity, his address in Pakistan, everything was revealed. Under interrogation, he told us where he was trained, what was done. The US intelligence, as well as ours, recorded the chilling voice of the Pakistani handler giving minute-by-minute instructions to the killers in Mumbai, telling them where to go. And they were monitoring Indian TV and saying, there are people hiding on the 3rd floor of that hotel, go and shoot them there. This kind of thing is going on. Your sources recorded this too. So we know what Pakistan's all about. They will dispatch terrorists. They will deny they did so until they're actually caught with red hands. That's the first. So I agree you're going to say, but that's circumstantial. Sure. Second point. The moment this happened, within 45 minutes or so of this happening, the terrorist attack, a group called the Resistance Front claimed credit. Who are the Resistance Front? They're a well-known proxy front of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, a banned organization listed by the United Nations, listed by the US State Department, which enjoys safe haven in the town of Murid-K in Pakistan. The Resistance Front, evidence about the Resistance Front and its doings was presented by India to the UN Committee on Terrorism in December 2023 and repeatedly again in 24. But the problem was, of course, Pakistan too is a member of that committee. The Resistance Front was not listed by the UN, but its identity was known and publicized. These people then claimed credit within a time span. There were no media present when these killings took place. Most of the world hadn't even learned about this when they claimed credit. So that was itself a smoking gun. They repeated that claim 24 hours later. And having repeated that claim 24 hours later, then their handlers must have woken up to the gravity of this and told them to take it off their site. So they did. But the fact is, the credit claim was on record and the world has seen it. Third, when the first strikes happened on the terrorist camps, funerals were conducted, including for members of some of the key organizations, the Jaish-e-Mohammed in particular, and the Lashkar-e-Taiba. The funerals were conducted and photographs have emerged on social media showing Pakistani generals and police officers in uniform attending these funerals, being conducted by relatives of these terrorists. So we're looking at 3 concrete pieces of evidence as far as India is concerned. But finally, I can add to the mix, we also have intelligence services. They have been studying very carefully these terrorist attacks. They have identified at least 4 of the 5 perpetrators, and they know who they are. In fact, I'm told, and I don't have access to the direct intelligence information, but I've been reliably informed, they know that 2 of them are Pakistanis, and the other 2 were locals who had exfiltrated, is the term, out to Pakistan for training 10 years ago, and clearly were sent back for this mission this time. So it's on the basis of all of this put together that we said, we know who did this, and we will take action. And that's exactly what we did. I can assure you India is not the kind of country that would undertake a military operation without very solid basis for doing so. This was not some random terror attack. I must say our government counts 24 terrorist attacks in the course of last year emanating from Pakistan, but none of them required this kind of response. We dealt with them. We either got the terrorists or killed them, minimal damage, very little loss of life. We dealt with it. This showed all the hallmarks of a sophisticated, planned, deliberate operation with reconnaissance, with intelligence work, with a modus operandi worked out, this cynical exercise of asking people their religion, shooting them between the eyes. This is not an ordinary terrorist, some bearded fanatic blowing himself up outside a supermarket. This is not that. This is a serious quasi-military style operation, and it required a military response.